Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to another year in Manor Lords as we have survived winter once again. The city is waking up. I mean, it never really slept, and in this case here, it's waking up though to the reality that we're coming out only with 5 months of food supply out of the last winter, which means, well, we have grown a bit too quickly. And to counter that, well, we don't have that many choices, honestly, because we are already using everything in the city at this point with, chickens and goats and cabbages and stuff like that. And we got a huge pig industry at this point, slaughtering dozens, hundreds, thousands of pigs every day to make enough sausages. And we never have enough sausages despite all of that. I do have enough salt though, so I could still, push my sausage industry a bit further, and this is something that I would like to start right away before we tackle the food problem in other numerous ways. So I'm starting to get me 2 more butchers in, and yes, I'm going to actually put them kind of like in my industry zone, right? Over here, we can squeeze in 2 of them together with a working plot each, so we can actually then go ahead and make them as butchers. While this is under construction, I would also like to go ahead and push my storehouse, my next storehouse here, to the next level, because they are just, stocking up on goods way too fast. The granaries are fine though at the moment. This is something that we can check also here. We do have a good supply rating there for both of them. Well, for the general goods, actually it's not that great, but that's usually not because we don't have enough storehouses, but because my people just don't have enough clothing, right? So this is still an ongoing issue 2 weeks after the patch, unfortunately. So there hasn't been a fix up to this point that would, make it easier for me to stockpile some clothing or stuff like that. Now, next we have the butcher is coming, and next we have then not farming, because farming is really not giving me that much in Sleepy Hollow. It's a really, really bad territory to have for farming. So we already use most of it, right? We got the fully stocked farmhouse. We probably have too many fields anyway to make this one really productive. So I'm gonna go ahead and build me a second farmhouse now. They will share the workload then. So I'm just gonna make another road here, because I think it fits in the best for farmhouse number 2 that we have then out here somewhere. They're gonna work this hopefully to make it a bit more efficient, because right now what we can see is that the productivity of my main farmhouse is not high enough. They're a bit overloaded, right? So we also get that error message. Next is though, my trade partner Mandlach down here. Mandlach has the advantage that it actually has some decent farmland over there. How did that turn out in the first year? We can check this immediately by going into my family, and I can see that we can assign a few more, because this is the first real year now where Mandlach is starting its farming enterprise. And I'm not gonna go with any fallow ground anymore though, even though the game recommends to have it fallow at least a year, so I'm gonna keep it like that. Something is strange to here after reloading the game, right? It's looking like this. So they basically adjusted itself all to the same rotation. Gonna keep it fallow next year, and this one we're also gonna have this year and fallow next year, right? So that these lazy families are gonna work a bit. Where is that happening? Another bandit camp. Look at this one here. There's 3 bandit camps in 1 territory. Okay, I guess you can make it work like this. Back to Mandlach, because here we got the pack stations. I'm gonna use the pack stations in Sleepy Hollow though, because in Sleepy Hollow we have way more workforce to make this work, right? So there they are. They're already stuffed. And here we do have now my trading. We're still getting the salt in with the large shields. In Mandlach, we do have 250 large shields. No one is selling them, it seems. We do have them though up. Oh, the trade has been put off again. You gotta be very careful when you reload the game, because there's a lot of settings resetting. We do have some regional wealth in Mandlach. I'm gonna use this to establish me a dedicated trade route to get this one going, right? So we wanna export the large shields that we're trading in from Sleepy Hollow. We did that actually at the end of the last episode, And in that case, it resetted itself again. This looks fine though. So we got the large shields for the salt. And then we have pack station number 2, but we're still getting the rough stone in. Now, I don't need that anymore, right? The rough stone we were processing into dressed stone for the castle. This is something we don't need anymore. So I'm gonna remove this one. We're still... Nah, I'm also not gonna get the pelts over because I don't care about the pelts, honestly. We're gonna get the small shields, most likely. Small shields it is, so I'm gonna trade the small shields. We could also take large shields, honestly. Oh, and bow, right? Let's go with bows. I'm gonna send the bows, and we're gonna receive small game. Because small game is something that we have a lot of. By the way, let's also get a horse in here again. And let's check it out here. We do have 112 small game, way too much, right? So Mandlach has a lot of food for its own, and we're just gonna take a bit of that. Once the farming ramps up, we're gonna replace the small game with the rye bread, probably, right? That we can then process. Processing wise, we do have the windmill already. I still don't have a bakery in Mandlach though, so let's also go ahead and get this one here in the industry zone somewhere, so that we can start then processing that into bread. And this is the most important thing then, because bread just scales really high with the flour, so you can get a lot of bread. Also, it's very durable, so it doesn't spoil that quickly. So that's that. Next in line, we should have finished this one now. Very good. So here, I'm gonna go ahead now. And, oh yeah, we need to wait for a family to move in. Otherwise, I cannot upgrade them. So, I'm gonna take another burgage plot, level 2 here, where we have the apiary. Now, we don't really need that much wax, right? We were selling this, in fact. Honey is something we can, you know, consume ourselves. But we got a lot of that. So, I'm gonna replace this apiary here with also a joiner. Because there's another feedback I've got that the cogwheels would be very good for another export business, or also for trading then with Mandlach. Okay, also want to check here my tailor. We've been using the yarn so far, but as you can see, we're rather low on that. Also on wool, right? There's not that much coming in out of that. So we could also switch one of them to linen production and one of them to yarn production, so that we may diversify the clothing production overall. Another thing is that we can increase the size of the sheep, so that we have another pasture somewhere, like over there. This is for another 33 sheep. Let's just have this one attached to that field here. Joiner will then resume its work now as producing wooden parts, so these cogwheels there. And let's also make this one here as a reserve of 50. So that we're not running out of it. However, I'm not gonna set any production limit upwards. So they're gonna work this now. Yeah, 1,000 we're paying now, but we have a lot of money, so this is fine. Might actually stop taxing them then somehow. We'll just see. Because the more regional wealth I have, of course, the more taxing we can do. Now I can set my cogwheels, there they are, as an export. There is a minimum that we're gonna implement with 20. We could also then use that for trading with Mandlach. So this would be another potential endless source of trading goods that we have. And then, yeah, implementing this trade route is super expensive. So I'm going to wait on that until we have amassed some money again. All right, that farmhouse is finished. We do have 16 families ready. So I'm going to implement all 8 of them. And we're also upgrading this plowing station here, so that we can use 2 oxen now on the fields, speeding it up. Back in Mandlach, I think... So first of all, this should now... What is going on? He now put this one into fallow. This is so bugged that I cannot... cannot assign it. Okay, at least I'm working this one here, but that one just resetted itself again. It's not gonna be the best harvest this year, unfortunately. There's the oven. We can assign someone to that, and we don't really need to. I also don't have any, you know, flour to work with, so let's just keep it as is. And I would like to go ahead and work another field then here. So this is all very green. Is this too big? I hope not. Field and field. Getting over there. And this one's once again. I mean, it's May, so it should still work this year. 100% fertility. You don't see this so often. That's pretty neat. Fallow and then rye. And this one here. So we really need bread, right? This is my main source right now. And this one here is gonna stick fallow this year. And then we have rye 2 years in a row. And we'll just see how that goes. Okay. We're gonna assign another family to this one again. We already have the oxen upgrade. So please. I mean, he's just probably looking at all of this and says, who is supposed to do it? It's me. I've got the tool. And I'm ready to blow some fields here now. Gonna take him some time. By the way, I just have to say it again. I know it's getting a bit ridiculous, but I love the sky in this game. As it is rendered in real time. I know Pax Romana has the same thing, and I just love watching the sky forming new clouds, clouds disappearing, you know, rain coming in. It's beautiful. It's such an improvement over fixed skyboxes. Finally, there's a family moving in, so we can upgrade this burgage plot here to level 2 now right away. The problem still also remains that we do not have enough pork, right? So I'm not entirely sure how we can get more pork because, you know, every burgage we add, of course, increases my food consumption. So it seems like they're not producing enough meat to even sustain their own households. So I'm very hesitant to add more. We're gonna have another butcher, that's for sure. And then I would also like to work on, yeah, probably another joiner workshop again, because they just work great. For this, let's go ahead with another butcher. And hopefully get me that sausage rolling. As long as we have enough salt, this is absolutely fine. Next house with the family and with level 2. And we can now go ahead and once again get me a... either we go with the Boyer's workshop to push my warbow production or my shield production. Let's go with the shield production. So that's the joiner once again. And then we have the saw pit here. Has its own livestock working that too. Producing the planks. And what we can see is that this is really working as we are not overflowing with planks. So there's a nice consumption that we might even want to increase. And there it is. And I'm gonna go ahead with the small shields for this. And we're putting in here in reserve again of 50. And then we start producing more small shields again because I need them also for Mandlach then. And we only have one saw pit right now. We have a logging camp that is also overflowing with logs over there. So I might consider adding a saw pit to... Oops, where is it? Where's my saw pit? There it is. To this area. But of course, we're not pushing it over there. I'm going to have it here somewhere. Could also have it here close to the windmill, why not? And in that case, get the next production for planks out. It's my only infinite resource we have that we can use to make better goods, right? It's the only source, really. There's nothing else. The fishing doesn't give me anything anymore, right? It's gone. The berries, they're also non-existent, basically. There's no endless quarry or anything like that. So it's really just logs, planks, and then what we make out of planks. That is actually putting any wealth into this territory. We have the workforce to make it work though, right? So that's the great thing about Sleepy Hollow. Lots of people, diligent work, as long as their bellies fill. I'm really worried about the 5 months of food supply. I hope we're gonna get a good harvest this year. We've got still eggs and the carrots. The cabbage is coming in sometimes. Look at that, sausage is a bit there. It's not 0 anymore, right? We're hovering over 5 sausages now. So it seems like there might be some improvement now with the latest butcher. There's the next saw pit. Let's assign 2 families to this right away. And also give it its own dedicated livestock. Kunz is doing the work. And since we do use now quite a bit of dedicated workforce again, or livestock, I'm also going to have a hitching post here, upgrading then to a stable to import more oxen once more. I just love barley with 2% fertility. So out of this field, we're gonna get 5 barley this year. That's just incredible. We do probably need to keep more fields fallow more often, honestly. I think this is the main improvement for getting a proper amount of fertility up. So I'm gonna keep this one here fallow. We definitely want to keep the barley in though, because the ale is too important to neglect it. There's the rye. Here we can keep it fallow, and then we are pushing barley again. Incredible. Alright, this one's finished now. So I'm gonna get me the oxen, and we're gonna upgrade. Import the oxen first before you upgrade, because the oxen will take some time and there's a cooldown, and you cannot import while it's upgrading. Alright, this one's... they're waiting now, but this one's now getting the planks hopefully in. And this one's crafting. Very good. So the butcher is working at the moment. Yeah, 6 months of food supply. It's going up there a bit at least. And I'm expecting then also the harvest. There it is. Ah, very good. Both farmhouses get the harvest in. And that's leading now to... oh, we got 100 apples. Perfect. And that's leading now to 123 rye sheaves for now. That's really good. Alright, Manor Lords also wouldn't be Manor Lords if there isn't some conquering. And I would like to tackle this territory now here. That's Froshek. And we can claim it right away with the 1000 influence. And we're probably just gonna get it, right? So if I press the claim now. What we're doing before that though is this time I'm not gonna use my own troops. We have so much money, 9,000 in the treasury, that I want to use it. And we're gonna use it for mercenaries. And we got 2 of them, the Trümmerhöhe. They arrived here, the green caps. So I'm gonna sign them for 90. You know, it's like, it's nothing. And then we got the Wayward Sons here for 45. I'm also gonna assign them. Hangstrass, this is just brigands. Okay. We could spawn brigands onto the world map. Interesting. Okay, they will arrive now. There they are. My vagabonds. And yeah, let's move them down here. So we're gonna sit at the edge of this one. And then we have also, oh my goodness, they arrived now. It's, oh, that's my mistake once again. We got 2 archers now fighting those brigands. That's entirely on me. One of them will take them on, and the other one will fight them, flanking them from the side. And hopefully we can destroy them fast enough. Oh yeah, that's fine. Look at that. We didn't even lose one, since they're so weak that no one really cares about it. And let's claim it with influence that we have. So we got a nice amount of influence still left. Froshek is being claimed, and since there is probably no contestant, we will get it. Can I loot this one with my archers? I can. Very good. We can send it to the nearest town. Get some resources out of that, right? And they're immediately going now from the next bandit camp. And once again, we can use... oh! Oh, there's another one spawning now. This just spawned there again. We were once again fooled. Okay, this is a problem because now both of my archers are engaged in melee combat. I don't care, it's mercenaries. We got the main forces still coming. But both of them were broken again with the archers. So you can just see how, yeah, how that is, right? Let's destroy the newly spawned bandit camp, you know. So let's just show that to you. There's another one over there. This just really spawned there again and immediately also launched troops on me. Let's take the wealth. Is there a combat zone? No, there's no combat zone where we need to have troops in, right? Doesn't matter. If I knew how strong these archers are, I wouldn't hire the other mercenaries, honestly. Let's get over there. So these 2 archers here, they're just completely wrecking those bandits. Gonna move them over there. One is engaging again. And the other one is shooting them. And they're just dwindling again in numbers. And broken. Very good. The last bandits have been destroyed. Take the wealth before this whole thing is over. Closing in on 10,000 treasury again. So we, you know, like we got 200, we got 400 treasure out of this. And the mercenaries cost me, what? 80 combined. So this was totally worth it. And it was also much faster than using my own troops, of course. And we are also not wasting any workforce and stuff like that. And we got Froshek now over here. And while we're at it, I'm considering... because once again, this is, you know, this has been destroyed. Yeah. This has been destroyed by the bandits. They haven't recovered. It's the AI force. right? So we can also just claim this here with 2000 influence. And I'm gonna get my mercenaries now over, so that we can claim this for us. We'll just see if he's actually... Okay, he's actually doing it. And we need to move up here with my mercenaries to get this one here too. End conversation. I don't care. You're on the ground and we're just gonna kick you out of it. She doesn't even have a manor house, so I'm not expecting any retinue or something like that. Back to Sleepy Hollow. We should not neglect this one, where we still don't have the thrashing, right? So did this reset again? Yeah, it did. I said actually high priority for both of them, please. Otherwise they're waiting the whole winter, right? And we need the food at some point now, because once you add the rye bread to your mix of storage, the thing is that the other consumptions go down, right? And you increase the variety of food longer. So the sooner we have the bread in, the better. Unfortunately, high is the highest priority that we can have. There is a bit of harvest in Mandlach. I'm really, really pumped to see this. And with that, we have 52 rye grain rye sheaves in already. That means the bakery can already work. Let's assign a baker to Mandlach. There's a new source of bread coming to Sleepy Hollow soon, because we will definitely have an overproduction here of bread, since we have so much game, right, out of the hunting. We're importing barley, right? And this leads to having us 248 ale right now. Way too much. I'm considering also starting selling an export of ale. I think that should be quite profitable. There it is. Meat is another one here. Export. And we're gonna put this one to 200, right? Because I still want to keep, of course, a healthy overstock of this. 640 for dedicated trade rod is something I'm probably not gonna do. I'd rather go for my wooden parts, because that's a much higher volume. So I'm gonna establish my trade rod with the 600. We still have 200 left, and we have now another permanent export here coming out of that. And look at that, we already have 50, and now those 50 have been immediately, the surplus immediately taken and already exported. Very good. So there will be a lot of money coming in out of this. That was very fast. Look at the amount of stuff that we're selling now at the trading post. It's really nice to see. And I'm also going to switch now this one here from the war bows. Or is it war bows? Yeah, it's war bows. And we're going to now import then rye bread from Mandlach. There it is. Because that's now a much better source, since bread is now finally coming in. And I think also, yeah, there's not that much small game anymore, but the rye bread is there. So that's something. And in Sleepy Hollow, we also have now rye bread coming in finally, as we have now the flour. And my oven is working. And so it happens that we claim this territory. No one is really fighting for it. And Burenbach belongs to me now, and with that all the ruins here. So once again, it is in our hands to repair this. Burenbach even has some timber left to start a basic production. There's the manor house, by the way. There was one. So where was the retinue? Huh. All of my mercenaries are still alive. We do have 2000 influence left. So I'm considering now taking over this area here too. Once again, this is the only AI opponent that is still intact, right? So they're still alive after all of this. And yeah, expanding a bit, but overall this mechanic is not really fleshed out at this point. So I'm gonna claim them once again. And then there's gonna be the gauntlet somewhere. What? The gauntlet is over here in my territory. Okay. I mean, why not? Get over there. I wonder if he's gonna send troops over. No idea. Going into the new year with 7 months of food supply. So there is some improvement here. And 400 carrots probably also helped me. But also, of course, now that we have rye bread again. Of course, it needs also to be that we have a good harvest every year. It's also with the flags that I'm not entirely sure we keep it. Yeah, let's have it fallow. I'm gonna reduce the amount of flags because honestly the clothing thing is something that we cannot fix. Right, it's just... the consumption is so high that... I've upgraded some buildings, that's fine, right? But more is just not gonna happen, I think. They're eating more clothes than food. Another thing, Mandlach is getting richer and richer. We do have now the bows coming in as well out of the bread, right? So we got 180 war bows now. Do we sell the bows already? We don't. Very good. So Mandlach is just gonna get richer. I'm not gonna... I mean, desired surplus is gonna be 20 or so, right? To keep it for our own demand, and that's it. Okay, we can? No, we cannot. I cannot form a militia, unfortunately. Yeah, he's begging. I'm not gonna let him beg that much longer, don't worry. He's gonna go down now, anywhere. My troops have arrived. It's all mercenaries. So that we're not losing any workforce. They're just waiting here. But nothing is gonna happen. I'm just a bit worried that the combat zone is in my territory. We'll just see what the outcome is. Ha! 34 months of fuel supply. Sounds great. Sausage is gone again. Carbs are gone. Apples are completely gone. Like we had over 100 apples. Someone just lost a lot of apples and ate all of them. My planks have recovered quite tremendously so. That's great stuff. We're gonna order the next oxen again. And with that we have a very stable production of the bows, the shields and the cogwheels, right? And I don't even see them anymore. They should be there somewhere. Wooden parts, 28. We got 900 coin. So it might be worth it. Checking it out real quick. The wooden parts are worth 8. That is a lot, by the way. Holy cow. Yeah, you can make some money out of that. Can we check it out? In the records, what we've exported so far. Let's just say the previous month. Right? Yeah, there it is, right? The shields are still the best one. But the cogwheels are there, the small shields, and then the tools. But the tools are worth almost nothing in comparison to the other ones. Since Mandlach is getting so rich, I'm considering increasing the taxes over there. We don't need to have any more immigration for now. So getting that tax up, of course, reduces the approval. It's probably going to drop to the 60s, which is still absolutely fine for migration if we want that. But we can tax now all of that to get even more wealth out of it, right? And there's just the other thing. I think we actually postponed the export. Oh, the shields are there. The warbows are there. That's it. And there it is. Peace has been declared. And we took over Hangstrass. And with that, by the way, this is an intact village. So, no, there's a lot of rubble here now. Wasn't it intact anymore? Is the rubble new? I'm not so sure about it. Okay, where? Now, just in general, I want to point out that, yeah, we have world domination. There are no more bandits, no more AI opponents, no more barons and whatnot. The whole map belongs to us, and there is no one stopping us now from basically colonizing it all. However, I'm not gonna do this. We're gonna end the series here because, yeah, at some point I just think we have seen it all now. Also what the update provides. We've built a big city out of that. I've enjoyed it, but the game still has a lot of bugs as well that you need to get over with as well at some point. I hope there's more patches coming in and more massive updates like this one here. That was really enjoyable and can't wait to see what this game still offers. It would be a shame if the developers let it come to, or let it die, you know, because it's still really is one of the most unique city builders we have at this point, and I'm pumped to see what it could bring in the future. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Wish you all the best. Let's end it with a nice showcase of the city. Stay tuned.